Hi, my name is Logan, and welcome to the Hong Kong Legends DVD of Red Wolf. And happy to have with me watching the movie. What was your name again? Christy Chung.
In which language? Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese?
Well, English it's Christy Chung. What's your Cantonese name?
Chung Lai Thai.
Your Mandarin name?
Chung Li Ti.
Your Vietnamese name?
Chung Thủy Minh Thô.
We can actually fill the whole running time of the commentary with the different names. If we got into descriptives, we'd be into a double disc set. Anyway, let's talk about this movie, which is Red Wolf, the Chinese title of which is, you say it better than me, it is?
Phu Man Wai Lun.
And the meaning literally is, Fu Man is like powerful tiger, and Wai Long is like another kind of powerful dragon. So totally different title in Chinese from the English version. And I guess it's referring to the Chinese title of Die Hard, which was Fu Dam Long Wai, which also refers to dragons and tigers and bears and
There's a lot of dragons and tigers, and especially after the success of Crouching Tiger and
Hidden Dragon. It's become the thing.
Exactly.
This movie is kind of like a copy of his eras, because it's like a copy of City Hunter, which was itself inspired by Under Siege, which was itself inspired by Die Hard. So it was like one after the other after the other.
And also one movie you forgot, it's called Bird on the Wire.
Oh yes, of course.
Because my character was really like, Goldie Hawn's character in Bird on the Wire.
So this means Kenny Ho here was doing his Mel Gibson, was he? Kenny Ho, Ho Ga Gang. Well, here's the gentleman wearing the dark glasses there. What's he like? What's he like to work with?
Kenny was somebody, who's really funny. I remember he was,
He's from Taiwan originally, isn't he?
I think he is.
Yeah.
Is he?
Cool. Well, he worked with Jackie on a couple of films, Project A Part 2 and Police Story 2. If Jackie made a film with the 2 in the title, he always looked for Kenny to be in the movie.
Oh,
now this is the J-Lo intro. Damn.
Yeah. I
Baby got back.
Yeah, you know how Hong Kong movie wants you to be a bit more like, oh.
And the guy on the left here of these two businessmen is actually...
I think one of them is one of the investors.
Oh, really? That guy must be the investor. This guy is Yun Cheng-yan.
Oh,
Yun Wo-ping's brother.
Yeah.
And you know the funny thing? Charlie's Angels, he was the action director on Charlie's Angels as well, and he had the exact same opening scene, chatting up some girl on a plane. So maybe he has it in his contract. If there's a hot babe in the movie, he gets to chat her up in the opening reel.
Well, quite clever.
That's going to be my contract for the next film. But now listen, let's lay this to rest. You just shot a TV series, the Hong Kong Asian Chinese.
The Chinese version of Charlie's Angels.
Right, which is done already. It's out now, right?
But actually, this is only a pilot. We didn't have the go. Yeah, we didn't have the go yet, so we had to shoot the pilot. So the people in Columbia TriStar in the States would be able to see it and say, okay, then we want to invest and have a remake of the Charlie's Angels, but using Asian faces. Yeah.
But you were actually always, there was so many rumors going around that you were going to be in the American Charlie's Angels and Stanley Tong. So that was just the newspapers in Hong Kong.
Oh.
There were all these cobbled together photographs of you.
Stanley Tong had a lot of project for me, but it was just rumors.
They never came to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the exterior shot there is obviously a boat on the open sea, and here we are, and this is actually in Saigon. It's just a very elaborate studio set, which whenever you see a big elaborate studio set, you know there'll be a big action scene. And this gentleman here is Wu Feng. He's like
he's a very well respected TV personnel and. Very kind, very patient.
He used to be in all the black and white movies in the old days.
Oh yeah, I remember when you wake up early in the morning, when you go to sleep very late.
In your case, when you haven't gone to sleep the night before, there's these black and white movies playing on TV.
And tell you honestly, when I first came here to Hong Kong, those black and white TV series dramas were the best to learn Cantonese because they speak very slowly.
So he was your surefire then for Cantonese.
Yes.
But in those movies, in those days, the women were always the lead role, and he was always the guy kind of like klutzing around in the background. So this movie, if this movie had been made in like the 50s or 60s, then your character would have been Kenny Ho's character, and Kenny would have been the kind of the ditzy one. And there was this kind of sea change when Bruce Lee came back. They started having male leads. But if you look at those films, there's always like people like Su Fong Fong were always like they call them the Jane Bond movies. They were always like the heroes, and the villain was always Sek Kim.
That's good to know. I mean,
we should go back to that. We will. Now, this is another Under Siege lift. In Under Siege, the bad guys are the band. And
Michael, huh?
Indeed, they are. Michael. What do you know about Michael? Michael Lai.
Yeah, Michael Lai.
That's his. Yeah, he's a famous composer.
Yes, producer.
And now he's at the nightclub Pink Mau Mau. He's what is he? The music coordinator. A job that normally involves like having drinks with lots of cute girls. Everybody in this town has a better job than me. Damn it! It ain't fair. But the band are indeed all of these Westerners, and there was, I don't know if you were aware of this, but this is the first time ever in the history of Hong Kong films, all the Westerners who could do martial arts, they formed like a little association.
Was it
G7 on this movie.
Really?
G7. It was called they tell me G stood for Guilo. Guilo 7. And there were seven Westerners, and they were all like going to form a union and demand better treatment for Westerners in Hong Kong films, because we're an abused species.
I mean, in fact, I think that one reason they used Westerners because they have this nice body shape, and it makes it look like they're very mean and strong.
Yes, I mean, always people ask me to find them Westerners to be in the movies, and it's like, find a guy 6 foot tall, built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who can kick like Jean-Claude Van Damme. But I mean, all those guys, right? I mean, I meet them occasionally. How did you get cast in this movie, in Red Wolf?
I think it was at that time the production house who produced this movie, and they sent me the script, and I think I read it, and they wanted me to play like a playful, character like Goldie Hawn and Bird and Wire, and then I said okay. I really like working with Yuen Wah-ping. I mean, I think he's a fantastic director. He's very patient, and he really takes time, and he cares about his actresses on the set. So it was fun. I think it took like probably 10 or 15 days.
To shoot all your stuff?
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
God. The funny thing is, because now Yuen Wah-ping is so established in the West for doing this Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and The Matrix, and now Iron Monkey's coming out. So there's all these elaborate period piece style action, or even The Matrix, it's kung fu, right? This is like a modern day action film, but he actually did a bunch of modern day action films as well. In Hong Kong, he was doing contemporary action like the Tiger King series.
He's very, very well known for all his art, martial arts stunts and everything. Very traditional.
Right. Do you actually? Can you read Chinese?
Yeah, I read 3 characters, which is my name.
Yeah, more than I can do. I can't read my name or yours. So when you say they gave you the script, they had a translation of the script?
Well, no, actually they didn't really give me a script.
Okay. So
I think we just
wrap my mind around the concept of having an English script.
We have to tell people that in Hong Kong usually don't have a script,
Yeah, they gave you the treatment.
But no, we just, had a meeting. We talk about the synopsis, we talk about the movie, and I say, hey, it's a fun movie to do on a boat, and even if I don't have a lot of action to do, but I think it would be fun to just play somebody who's a bit, ditzy in the movie.
Right.
And
people maybe aren't really aware of how spontaneous Hong Kong movies are, but I mean, when you turned up on the set for this film in the morning, how much did you know what you were going to do that day?
Not much.
So they just come in and say, you stand there and you say this, right?
Yes, exactly.
And they're not recording sync sound.
No, at that time they don't really record sync sound because there was a lot of martial arts involved. There was a lot of bombs involved. So I think they'd rather do everything in a studio. And actually, I could just because at that time I couldn't speak very well Cantonese. I was not very fluent, so I could just be like doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it was pretty hilarious.
And just for the record, go on. Elaine.
Yeah, Elaine actually she played very well in this movie. I mean, she had that spunk, and then she got that kicks, and I think she was very impressive in this movie.
She's an interesting look because she is pretty, but she has kind of a slightly evil. She can do that evil thing, and I mean, I don't want to be mean to Elaine because she's a very nice lady, but I mean, it's like she has a certain kind of wicked, naughty look
in her
to her,
eyes.
which is great, which is good. Now, the captain of the ship is a guy called Steve Brettingham, and his full-time job is he's a psychiatric nurse.
Really?
And I think that's the way. Did he give you some counselling?
No.
But there's still time. But he's I mean, that's the perfect job for somebody working in the Hong Kong action film industry. He normally deals with insane...
He needs to get out of all those neurotic, daily life. So, hey, I'm going to go on a set of a Hong Kong movie.
He's used to working with insane people. So, I mean, that would fit him right in for working in Hong Kong, particularly if you're a Westerner working in Hong Kong. But Elaine, I never forget the first time I saw Elaine on screen. She was in the movie The First Bride with White Hair.
Yes, I watched that. It was so good.
Cool, isn't it? And she's one half of these two twins, and the other one is Frances Mchanyu, and they're like naked and back to back, which is a great way to
It was pretty daring at that time for her to take that kind of role.
I mean,
because
really, I was like, what? Because the way they shot it, you didn't know until the big reveal that they were actually that. And you, of course, were in Bride with White Hair too.
The second part,
right?
I was little Robin Hood.
Yeah, that was the first time you really got to do some action, though.
I really loved it. I mean, I remember David was the director, and I remember at that time he was trying to sell me to the producer. He said she has to play this role, and the producer, no, she should play the princess role.
Right.
Because they thought that I should be like pretty and beautiful, but David was like, no, I think she can do it, and I say, yes, I know I can do it, and I'm so happy that he really stood by me, because I don't think I'd like to play the princess role, I'd rather do some,
Yeah, I mean, it
shooting arrows and...
Yeah, that kind of thing. But just for the record, how many languages do you speak now?
Including the language of love or excluding language?
Including. Go on.
Well, I speak French, English, Vietnamese, Cantonese, a little bit of Mandarin.
Oh, God.
And I just performed in 2 foreign movies where I had to learn Thai and Tibet.
Right. So this whole thing about the dumb blonde bit is pretty much par for the course. You speak 8 languages.
No, I'm playing dumb in a movie. Doesn't mean I'm dumb in a real person. Come on, babe.
And the people who criticize you probably have trouble with even 1 language. But there's Steve on the left there, Steve Bredingham, and he's actually from Chesterfield in England. Came here in 1990, and he used to work for a company called IFD. Have you ever heard of IFD?
No, what's that?
They were international film distributors. What they used to do is they'd buy up cheap or unfinished films or just basic film stock of films from around Asia, and they'd shoot like a week in Hong Kong of like good action or gunplay or whatever, and edit that into the old film from 1970 and release it as a new film. So they would get like a whole movie for the cost of a week shooting. Yeah, and they used to find Guilo's Westerners to be in the film, and Steve was the king of the. He starred in about 20 IFD films as like the leading man, and this was his favorite scene in the film.
I'm pretty sure.
I can't think why.
Yeah.
Elaine's a real character.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
She was in a film called Angel, which was the Taiwanese Charlie's Angels.
Oh, really?
One of the first
so they
times.
did a lot of versions of Charlie's
This was years ago. It was like the first film to, how do we put this politely, to borrow the concept, from the concept of Charlie's Angels. Who else is in your Charlie's Angels, the one that you just did?
It was Annie Wu, Sang Guan, and Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly Lim.
Yeah.
Lim something.
Right. No, I know Kelly. I just saw Kelly the other night in 7. Oh no, Full-Time Killer. What was it?
Yeah, well, she's in a lot of movies with Do Gei Fang.
Right.
And I think Chinese Star kind of signed her.
Yeah.
And she's a babe. I mean, she's really a babe, and she's so quiet, she's a very, very good girl.
She is nice and good-hearted. Totally the opposite of her screen image, it has to be said.
Yeah, she likes to stay home. She stays home all the time, actually.
Now look at Elaine. Is Elaine like this in real life, or is this a cunning performance? Because she really carries the whole thing off. There's
one thing about Elaine, she's very athletic.
Yeah.
I know that she plays tennis a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that besides Michelle Yeoh and Elaine could be one of the few that could really kind of fight on screen.
Right. And here's our main bad guy.
Yeah.
Nai Sing from one of Samo's discoveries from Taiwan.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart. He's really nice.
Do you know what his English?
He's from Xiu Long, right?
Yeah.
Little Dragon.
Yeah.
He's really, really nice. He seems to be very, he always playing those hard and mean character roles on movies, but in person he's very, very nice.
Because you work with him on
Jet Li, Bodyguard of Beijing.
Right, he's the bad guy there.
Yeah.
I think he's doing The Matrix right now, which is great. Good
wow,
for him.
I'm really happy.
But he has an English name. His English name is Colin.
Colin.
And
yes.
Colin is not. It's not like a Brad or a Clint kind of name for English people. Colin is kind of I told him, I said, you need a more Studley name. Maybe he'll make it Studley. Maybe by him being called Colin,
you think he should change his name? Really?
Nai Sing is fine. Colin for English market anyway, is a funny name. It's like if you called Ralph or something. And there's Cho Wing, who's was one of the action coordinators on the movie.
Yes.
And
they call him something with the feet. I mean, like golden feet.
Really?
Or something that.
Gumgurk.
Quick feet.
Phai Gumgurk. Quick golden feet.
Oh my god! 我知道佢.
And look, there's Kenny G. Remember this?
No. He does look like Kenny G. Hey. And then this guy.
Oh, Cho Wing's name.
Cho Wing's name. Oh, yeah,
but he's a fantastic martial artist.
Yes.
I always figured this guy, either it was Kenny G or you remember there was a band from New York called Color Me Bad. One of the guys from Color Me Bad, but he's got the Kenny G thing going on. Yeah. His name is Roy, and he was one of the G7. We'll point them out to you. We'll get a little G7 logo will come on the screen. And he was like is a Wing Chun Kung Fu exponent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
Good for him.
I looked on a website the other day, and it was Leung Teng has you on his website doing Wing Chun.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever actually train with him?
Yeah, I trained like I think a couple times with him, and maybe a couple class with him. It was for a special for RHTK. RTHK.
Snip, snap, snap. You speak 8 languages.
I don't watch TV a lot.
Anyway. No one watches RTHK.
It's for the government. It was for the government.
It's a government-run TV station.
Yes, exactly.
Who would be watching it
anyway?
And
you know, they wanted me to kind of learn a bit more about martial arts,
right.
And then they appointed me this guy to do so. Actually, I find it a bit confusing because I kind of like street fight.
Yeah.
And you know, street fight is where you really go forward.
Okay, now I should point out, for those of you without colour on your TV sets, you just did a swinging punch past the microphone. Absolutely, you go forward. And what was he showing you how to do?
But then the Wing Chun one is where you have to do the stand and then you're holding bat and you just like...
Now she's firing these kind of like, kind of soft hand techniques towards the microphone. And very distinct. I know exactly what you mean. Now this guy, do you see the guy with the long... Oh, he hasn't got long hair. Ajik, the guy with the gun firing there.
Yeah.
He's a terrific stuntman. He was Josie's main double for Purple Storm.
Oh.
And he did Scooby-Doo. He was one of the fight choreographers on the Scooby-Doo movie.
Scooby-Doo movie?
They had a fight, a Hong Kong-style wire fight scene in Scooby-Doo the movie, if you can believe that. And this is like a relatively early film role for him anyway. But you can do action though, because I remember seeing Aces Go Places '97.
I love doing
And man, you were doing like 3 in the NGs at the end. We see you doing these 360s through a glass table.
Did you know at that time I was pregnant?
That was my next question. Did you know at that time you were pregnant?
Yeah, I knew. But what can I say? Oh, I can't go to work because what? I have a stomach ache.
So you had Jasmine. You were carrying Jasmine, and you were doing the 360s down through the glass table.
I was carrying Jasmine for a whole month already, and I think we were shooting the ending.
Right.
And every morning I would go and then look at my tummy. I would say, "Hey, mommy's gotta go to work, so you stay in there and then be good." Yeah.
That explains why Jasmine's so athletic now. She spent
exactly.
her formative months. She was spinning and crashing through tables.
Getting kicked by Billy.
Fighting Billy Chow.
Billy Chow, yeah.
Wow.
The champion of kickboxing.
She actually fought Billy Chow before she was born.
Exactly.
That is amazing. Huh? Here's a good Die Hard moment. Look at this. Boom. What I like about it is he goes through, when he lands, it looks like it hurt. Because a lot of the times you look at the movies, they really just do all this stuff and bounce up and it's like nothing.
And no, it's
but
like so easy
looks like
to
he's
do
in
it.
pain. Now, Kenny Ho, of course, did the early films with Jackie, and then he really came to fame. He was in Judge Pao on TV. Pao Ting Teen. Remember that? It was so huge a few years ago. It was his purple face, this judge. He has like a red face.
Oh, yeah.
And a moon.
Pao Ting Teen. Yeah.
It's I appreciate my pronunciation is way out there in left field. Sorry, how do you say Bao Ting Teen?
Bao Ting Teen.
Bao Ting Teen, okay. And it's like a famous judge. I don't know if is he really historical, that guy, or is just
it's
a real person.
Yeah.
No one could explain to me why he looked like one of the brothers, though.
Here, I just got my my butt
pinched. Yeah. I mean, occupational hazard on a Hong Kong movie. Did they glue the cup? Did they glue the bottle and the?
Yeah, can you tell?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Oh, and here's Jackson Myuk-shu. This guy's Myuk-shu. You know, his name is Jackson, and he has the name Jackson. I gave it to him years ago in Taiwan. He didn't have an English name, and he says,
"Why would you give him Jackson?"
No, I can't remember. I think I was listening to Jackson Brown at the time.
Jackson 5?
Could have been bad. Could have been worse, you know. I guess I could have listened to Engelbert Humperdinck. But I was listening to Jackson Brown. Not the Jackson Brown. And so he became Jackson. And he is Jackson to this day. So I tell him he should call me Daddy, but he refuses. He is a huge Bruce Lee fan, and he has the biggest collection of toys. of anybody in Hong Kong.
What kind of toys? Like
No, not the kind of toys you're thinking about.
Well, you never know. Hong Kong people, men here are very
it's fetish fashion, right?
Yeah.
He's got like toys, action figures, and Batman toys.
Oh.
And he has one apartment he lives in Sha Tin, and another apartment he rents in Tsim Sha Tsui. And in the apartment in Tsim Sha Tsui, no one lives there, but the toys. It's like Toy Story, for real.
Okay, let's just, pay rent, because you know how Hong Kong rent is so expensive.
Those toys.
You would pay your rent just to put your toys.
Well, his rationale is that the toys are gaining in, like value as the years
This is a very ugly shot of me. I hate that shot because you can see the nostril flying out.
That's like the double barrel shot.
Yeah, because the camera is right underneath your face.
Do you know what I always think is you're saving? Because I mean, honestly, most of the stuff you've been given in these films is beneath you. Because I know you're really good, but you give it 100%. It's your saving grace as an actress.
How you have to do it. I mean, if you don't give it 100%, then what's the use of doing for 5% then?
Because I've seen people do movies where they felt that they were miscast, and they kind of in Hong Kong movies they're kind of winking at the camera like, "Hey, look, I'm just doing this for the money. I know it's crap, really." But you really give it 100%.
Yeah, I know it's crap, but I read up, people say, okay, she did a really good crap movie, at least,
It was a crap film, but she was good in it.
Yeah, she was good crap.
People in the West probably can't appreciate, like even on High Binders, which is like relatively big budget film. Everybody's taken care of. How much
is it?
35.
Because of the
If I tell you 35,
effects?
are you going to raise your fee? What? No, it's 35, and that's it, baby.
35 US.
Yes.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, but on these movies, like when you're working on a movie, you don't get a trailer on Red Wolf, right? A trailer or do you get a chair? Do you get your own chair with Christy written on the back?
Actually, this is the first time I'm watching this movie.
But when you're working on the film?
Oh, no, of course not.
What's the working conditions like?
Oh, well, you get the usual, rice box. And then when we were on the boat, it was so just, everything was so filthy, and you just sit on the floor.
And the hours are like, there's no SAG, minimum hours and everything.
No, and we would shoot this scene for nighttime. Most of the scenes are nighttime, so it was very hard because, first of all, you need to get into a small boat to get on the big boat.
Right.
So I can tell you that, there's a lot of motion sickness going on. And then when you finish working a whole night and you have to take the small boat again, and you're like all tired. It was pretty hectic.
And I mean, the worst I think is when you work on a movie and you work like 10 hours straight and you have a nap and they wake you up.
Sometimes 15 hours.
15 hours. You have a nap and then they wake you up and you have to do some really intense drama or action scene right that moment. No warm up, nothing. You're in. That's the worst. Guy with the glasses is called Mandy Chan, and he's from Boston. And he's a long-time action guy. He worked a lot with Donnie Yen, and he's obviously also worked with Yuen Mo Ping. So they brought him in for this. He's got more of a dramatic role here. Normally he does action and stunts and that kind of thing. And the last guy going out the door there was called Zebra Pan. Ban Majai. He worked with Bruce Lee. He was like one of Bruce Lee's team of guys. Yeah, and he's still. People have really long careers in Hong Kong. Wow. Are you a Bruce Lee fan? Were you a fan of
totally.
Bruce? Really?
Totally.
Can you impersonate Bruce Lee?
No. He's Kunchito.
What's the one? Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune
Do. Wave the intercepting fist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's amazing. I can't believe I have a lot of respect for Bruce Lee and the way he wrote, himself. Affirmation note saying that he will, be paid $1 million, and actually I was looking at his handwriting. I was like, my God, he has such a beautiful handwriting.
He did, didn't he? Huh? Really. He had that guy was just genuinely one of a kind. Do you write affirmation notes for yourself?
All the time. Really? I do it in the morning when I wake up, when I take a shower. I
share one with us. Share a long-term affirmation goal of Christy. We'll play this back in a few years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember one time when I was driving in LA in front of the men's theater. I had my friend, shooting me on the camera, and it would say, "Okay, I'm giving myself 10 years to be part of a Hollywood movie. I'll be a Hollywood superstar."
Yeah, it's going to take less than 10. And here you are. This movie actually is your first step, because I think they finally succeed in turning into literally into a dumb blonde. Did you know about this scene beforehand? You just came on the set and they said
I knew that I have to play this part.
But did you know you had to put on a blonde wig and act like Madonna?
No, because actually I love Madonna, and I'm the one who suggested that I wanted to be like Madonna, and I was singing like a virgin. Yeah. And
No, you were singing. Like a virgin.
Yes,
I was singing like a virgin.
I was singing like a virgin, but I had to change a little bit because they don't want to get the rights, for the movie.
Yeah.
But it was fun because I was really trying to be silly doing
that. Is that real? That's neat.
Lobster?
That's real wine. No, the lobster probably
that was real wine.
Real
so
lobster.
you can see my cheeks a little bit red, red like the lobster.
To get into the feel for the
next
for the next
gang
scene.
cow. Yeah, for the next scene. I was talking.
Number.
Look at me. How pathetic I am. I'm talking to a lobster.
Let me tell you something. You know you've made it when your method acting is that you've reached that level where you can speak to a crustacean and make it work for the worldwide audience.
Yeah.
You're talking to him, you're eating him.
I'm eating him.
What a memorable moment, a breaking frame. And there's Elaine's photo. Now, Elaine, I heard this interesting story. Interesting or not, I don't know. But they had another girl up for that role called Diane, who was an Australian stunt woman, and she wanted too much money, so she didn't get to do it. Yes. Anyway, here we are with the blonde look, and go for it, girl. Now they've changed the. Now you're gonna do a proper singing career, aren't you? What you'd like to do. I saw it in the papers.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I have some people, writing me songs in Mandarin, and this is my ultimate dream, gold.
Right. Yeah.
I would love to have an album out.
What kind of music will it be?
It will be a mixture of everything. I mean, I definitely has to be a mixture of Chinese old instrument mixed maybe with hip hop or something, really the best of both worlds.
If you do it in time for the, when are you doing it?
I don't know, because it's a project I really want to take time, like maybe like a couple months off and really just concentrate on the music side, because I can't really just do promotion, shoot a movie, come back and learn a couple lines in Mandarin and then fly again to Singapore for a movie and then come back. And I really want to put like 200% of my time dedicated on music.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking if we have the MTV in time, we'll put it on one of the DVDs to give you some overseas exposure.
Did you know I did a duet with Alex Toe?
No.
I was rapping in one of his songs.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Probably around that time as well.
Same time as this movie?
Yeah, I think so. 95,
hey, we should
96.
get do you know what we can get the MTV from? We should put it on. I'll check it out.
Be hard. Maybe
we'll talk about it. We'll
TV,
talk about it later.
Yeah.
Maybe I can ask them, see if we can find it.
I was there when they had this kissing scene. It was so funny. I was there because I always wanted to watch other people kiss on the scene, on the movie, because you know how it's pretty awkward, But I'm pretty sure that Elaine was really into it.
You know what? I think that because Hong Kong people, Chinese people, I think still are quite conservative.
Yes.
But of the two of them, I would say that Colin would have been the more...
He's very conservative.
But he's come out of it because he's dating Wanda for so long now. Wanda Young,
he's married her,
They're
at that time, he was very conservative. At that time, he was like...
Yeah, because they used to do it in the TV dramas anyway. They cheated, that they moved away and they would move their heads like they were kissing.
Yeah, I know, but it's terrible. It looks so fake.
So you're checking them out, saying, "Hey, get in there, guys! Go for it." But anyway, you've just got a book out, right? Tell us about the book.
The book has been released today. It's a wonderful book. It's a pictorial, with a lot of pictures of me, different chapters, and each chapter has a message, has a story. For example, power. You can see there's a lot of very beautiful pictures that represent power in there, and there's the pain. I really feel that this book is dedicated to all the women outside, out there who wants to have a baby, but also wants to continue their career.
Okay, that is why the women are going to buy the book. Now, for the guys,
well,
they may have other motivations.
They would appreciate the pictures in there, but I'm really, really satisfied because this has been like a long time, very long time. I've been thinking about it for years, and it's finally come up. And it's beautiful.
This is your year. You're so. I mean, I'm not just saying this because she's in the studio, listeners, but I mean,
she's
so hot. We're so lucky to have her in the studio because she's hot. This
the best is yet
right
to
now.
come. It's just
What's the name of the book?
Feel Christy Chung.
Feel Christy Chung. And there's an invitation if ever I heard. Feel Christy Chung.
Feel me.
And it's going to be. It's only for Asia, right?
Asia and also North America. And hopefully, I would like to have, basically everywhere that's got a Chinatown.
It's your version of the Madonna sex book, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, but to me, it's more important because I have a message in there, you know. Because I also write some stuff in there, like some inspiration, aspirations, like be good to people because on the way up, because on the way down you'll meet them, stuff like that.
I'm meeting them now on the way down. That is true though, because I mean you do have it all. Because let's face it, you're a single mom, you're acting, you're doing all the different things now, and you're basically self-determining what your career is going to be, and that is cool.
I feel much better now because since I came back in Hong Kong, it's very sad that Hong Kong people in the industry they tend to believe that mothers should just stay home and they shouldn't come back to pursue the career, and then I'm like, that's so sad because I felt like when I left just to have my baby, I felt like I haven't accomplished a lot of my dreams, and I want to come back and do so, and that's why I'm coming back with a revenge, and I feel like I'm more confident that I know what I want, and it's easier when you kind of focus in that sense of direction.
But I remember just lightening the tone. I never forget when we were doing Gen Y Cops, you came in one day on the set and you said, babe, I am the sexiest woman in Asia. And I said, well, you get no argument from me. And then you whipped out the FHM in Singapore.
You know why I said that to you? Because I was so proud.
Yes.
I was so proud because I've heard so many people sending so many stories say, Christy, you're a mom, nobody wants you, mom cannot come back, moms cannot be sexy, this and that. And when I got this title, because it was just released, and I was like, wow, it might be a new beginning, and that's why I have to carry this, and then I want to pursue this example and give hope to women out there.
Redefining Asian womanhood. Preach, sister, preach.
Exactly. Slowly but surely, hopefully.
Yes. But this is, I mean, if we'd have said to you during the making of Red Wolf, by the way, one day you'll be doing this and this and this, you'd be like, what? What? How long had you been in the business at the time you did this film?
About 2 years.
Wow. So just to recap for people who may be not too aware of your background.
Yes, I started in 1993. I entered a beauty pageant, Miss Chinese International, and I won the contest, and that's how people started to discover me, and then they say, hey, this is a new face in the film, we should just, try a new face and put it in a, Hong Kong movie.
And what was your very first movie?
Oh, it's called... It was with Andy Lau and Tony Leung and Gao Fai.
Right.
It was The Sting 2.
Oh, yeah.
The Sting 2.
No, I remember that, yeah.
Wong Jing.
Right.
He was the director. And I was totally in awe because the only person that I knew from Hong Kong when I was in Canada was Andy Lau. And I couldn't believe that I was playing his girlfriend in this movie. It was just so hilarious.
We get that, people come over here to do action films, and if they get lucky, like Westerners, and they get to fight Jet Li or Jackie Chan, they're all gung-ho, they've been training for like 20 years, they get in front of it like, Jackie Chan!
You do have this...
Now, who was the guy with the hose? Because look at that. I met a few hoes on Hong Kong film set before.
It's Ariel's father, the king of the sea.
That's splendid. Look at that. He's going, woo. That's nice work if you can get it.
That's funny, yeah. That's really,
you just go from there.
That's really sweet. Especially with those 3 cigarettes. Okay, the 3 cigarettes is because his friends got killed, and it's just like incense. Yeah,
he's burning incense to his
we're just trying to have a dramatic moment with Kenny Ho here.
Which is unusual for Hong Kong movies like this because they tend to be one damn slam bang after the other. And with this, they were trying to. I think they figured out that the reason that the Die Hard movies and these other films work, the ones that work, the reason they work, like Con Air or whatever, is you had an emotional stake in the characters that made the action more powerful. Mm-hmm. I think Kenny is and was a good actor. I don't know why he didn't really hit a peak as a theatrical star. Did you do another movie with him before, as well as this one? Because I have a clear memory of seeing another poster for you and him at the same time this film came out. But damned if I can remember. I can't find out any information on it. So maybe it was a different poster for this film.
Oh, maybe you saw a picture of me and him, like he was the best man and I was the best.
What was that?
I was for the wedding of Carly Kwan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the maid of honor, and he was the best man. That's why.
Who did she marry? She married Ray, right?
Yeah,
Ray
I really know.
So he was the best man, and you were the maid of maid of honor.
Yeah, I was the maid of honor.
Made in Canada. So when you think of yourself as in terms of your own ethnicity, what do you think of yourself as?
International, very international.
Like, woman of the world.
My parents are Chinese, Vietnamese, born in Montreal, Canada, which I speak French. Now I live in Hong Kong, and my ex-husband was English. So I kind of feel myself very international, but I would say leaning towards my Chinese.
You're like a palette with all the rich colours of the world thereon. That was a great vintage.
I love that scene.
Bit of Chung seduction.
I really like that scene. This is probably one of the most serious but very funny. Oh, because it's so over exaggerated, you know.
But you know, that's one thing. When we were doing Gen Y, I mean, your character in that film is really way out there.
Do you remember I went to you and I say, "Oh my God, babe, tell me, isn't it too much? Am I doing too much?"
But you know, for the
Can
film,
you guide me? Give me some pointers.
Now I look at it, you know what you're doing, and I think when I look at the film now, it really fit the mood of the movie. But one thing I noticed between takes, which was that you were really funny off camera as well. So, okay, now, you know, while there's the dialogue bit happening here, tell us your joke. Tell us about the different kinds of orgasm, because I think Paul Rudd and I were very impressed by that. do the orgasm joke first. You can use me as the target.
Okay, all right.
Tell me the joke. How's it go?
I don't know if you're aware of that or you read some books about this, but did you know that women have 4 types of orgasm? There's the positive one, there's the negative one, there's the religious one, and there's the fake one.
Right.
So the positive one goes like this. Oh yes, oh yes, and then the negative one goes, oh no, and then the religious one, oh my God, and then the fake one, I'm grabbing a bae's leg, oh bae,
Thank you. Just in front of my fans and friends. But the lead into that joke was Paul Rudd was improvising a scene in Gen Y Cops when he says to Christy's character, "Is this your idea of a joke?" And Christy improv, "No.
Oh yeah, why not?
This is my idea of a joke." And it's then I realized you had really good comic instincts. But I have to say that on Gen Y, maybe the director or maybe... You know what? This one thing that I think is so typical or specific to a race, to an ethnic background, is comedy. Comedy is so specific.
Well, and also you have to understand Hong Kong humor.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of Hong Kong humor is been, you know, stolen from other movies, or you know, it's been just like over exaggerated, over the top a little bit.
Well, you would know. You worked with Stephen Chow before, who's the king of exaggeration.
And I would understand his jokes because you know, obviously I'm not coming from a local background, so I wouldn't understand. But just looking at Stephen, he's already very funny. You know, in real life, he's really serious.
I know.
Did you know that?
He's so dry. I mean, he and I, the only time I've really spent a significant amount of time with him was in Italy at a film festival called Udine. And he was very serious. And if you get him talking about Bruce Lee, that's it, baby. He will be...
He's into it for hours.
Oh, man. We were drunk as skunks and doing Wing Chun in the washroom.
But he does know martial arts.
Yes.
I really feel that he does have this feeling that he wanted to be like Bruce Lee.
He's never done a movie yet, I think, that reflects how good he really is. He does a little bit, but I think he's got a concern in his mind because he's a comic actor that people won't accept him doing action. But I think he can do it.
That's too bad. Maybe I really believe that he should break that kind of circle, you know, that he's so typecast as a comedic, you know, Hong Kong.
What's great about him is his face when he's doing a comedy. He's very serious, and so that makes it even funnier. If he was fully face,
no, but he's a really serious guy in real life.
Just back the action. Look at that guy going through.
Did you notice that a lot of people, you know, shoot a lot of bullets, but they never have to recharge?
Never reload.
Reload.
The 2 first rules of Hong Kong film. You know, you never have to reload your gun unless it's absolutely necessary to the plot. And the second rule of Hong Kong film, which is the bad guys can never hit anybody. or action films, the bad guys, the hero with a handgun will definitely be able to shoot anybody he aims at from 50 miles away.
That was a very, very difficult stunt there because the ice was actually very icy and very hard. I think the stunt guy for this one got hurt, I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, in America, they would have had, like, plastic ice. But this is a Hong Kong
movie. That was a
movie.
real ice.
It was ice, baby. Ice, baby. Boom. That date. You know what that reference dates us. Oops, ice, baby. Just think, from Vanilla Ice to Eminem in, like, one generation. That's one giant leap for white rappers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you like Eminem?
I won't say that I really dislike them or I like them, but I feel that it's a funny world out there. It's like a hoodie and fish.
Pootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah, don't you think that the singer is black, but he's singing without soul? He's singing like a white man, and then the drummer is white.
What's that term? Globalization. Globalization. And speaking of black and white band, that's Pootie and the Blowfish right behind. Right behind Kenny, and that you see subliminally, you were looking at the band there going, wait a minute. I love Bobby Samuels is the black guy, the drummer. Great guy from the States. He's from Philadelphia, I think, originally. I could be wrong on that. Now resident in New York, and he came over. You know how he really got his start in the business? He was cast in a film called Gambling Ghost, and he had a fight with Sammo Hung, and there was a dispute at the end about his pay. And he said, you don't have to pay me, just as long as Mr. Hung promises to do another film with me. Which is so unusual, I think, for a Westerner to want to work rather than get paid. And so then he became he was adopted by Sammo, and he did a movie called Don't Give a Damn, which is the first time, I think, all of those G7 got to do their thing. G7 also, I think it's some kind of meeting of industrialists or governments, I think.
G7?
G7 summit.
I heard that in it's one of the movies where they have a nuclear bomb or something like that, G7.
But anyway, they were around for this couple of films, but Don't Give a Damn. And I remember Sammo was being interviewed on the set of that film, which is in Chinese is Mo Min Bei, which is like don't give face. But he's being interviewed by the reporter, and the American guy says, so what is the name of your new film, Sammo? And Sammo goes, don't give a damn. And the guy says, oh, so you'll make up the name later then. And Sammo, no, this film we call Don't Give. Oh, okay. And the guy with the goatee, the beard, and short hair, we just saw firing his Uzi, is Mike Miller. He's an Australian. He was another member of G7. Just to keep the.
Anyone from England? I'm pretty sure that there was a lot of British people. What about this guy?
This guy's from Australia, Mike Miller. He was here in a bunch of movies. He's very good at doing martial arts, but for some reason they hardly ever used him to fight. He's not very big. Maybe that's partly
I know. I remember he was.
Whereas this other guy, the other guy playing is called Habby Heskey. He's Australian, also from Melbourne. Big guy and real good at fighting, and he was in Van Damme's movie The Quest as well. He got in a nice little fight. For some reason Mike Miller didn't, and he actually, poor fella, had some kidney trouble. He had to go back. He's on dialysis. He had a kidney, had a transplant, and now he's recovered, which is good, and he wants to get back in the business. So we wish him the very best.
Yes.
Bobby had the hair done originally for
the movie?
for Mo Min Bei, for Don't Give a Damn. And then he was going to shave it all off, and Yulmo Ping said, no, I love it. So he says, keep it funky. Keep it like that. He's working in the States, Bobby, right now. I don't know what happened, but there was a parting of the ways with him and Sammo, and now he's gone alone. He's doing it alone. You know, I do sympathize, because it's tough when you're in the shadow of somebody. Like, if you're a stunt. You look at Jackie, right? Jackie's the bomb. We all love Jackie. But how many of his guys could come out and really shine on their own? It's very hard. You're always going to be in the shadow of that big star.
It's true.
And I think Bobby felt maybe that was it. So he was working with Wu-Tang Clan and all these people. Yeah, he's doing some videos for Wu-Tang Clan.
About,
who, what, where?
Gen Y Cops.
The remix?
No, Gen Y Cops. The other person.
Somebody who was in Edison? Mark Hicks. Mark Hicks, He's doing...
My Sugar Baby,
He's going to be over in Thailand with us.
Oh, really?
He's doing X and Sever on the location, same studio that we're doing Thigh Binders.
Oh,
X
and Sever,
which
from
is,
what?
with
Antonio Banderas?
You're going to have to carry a sponge for the saliva as Antonio Banderas and Mark Hicks on the same set.
Really? So we're going to
Chaos.
playing...
well, I'm trying to get him to come over and be in our movie at the same time.
Oh, my God. That'd be fantastic. Oh, my God. I can't wait to go to Bangkok.
Yeah. Okay.
Antonio, huh?
And he's happy, and this is the kind of guy they always like to have in Hong Kong movies, because it makes the Chinese guy look terrific when he wins in the end, because Habby's like,
he's huge,
real rock of a guy, and nice. The timing in movies is always, I'm sure you can back me up on this. You get people whose technique is really good, but they don't have the timing, and it's good for Habby because sometimes the bigger guys have the biggest problem. Like Yun Mo Ping just did a movie in Thailand called Black Mask 2, Ha Hap Dai Yi, and it was all these wrestlers and whatever, and he says, they can't move, they're big.
Because you're too big, you're kind of slanky, it's like a giant spider, And to do an action movie, it doesn't matter if you're, I think it's better if you're a bit shorter, because it'd be much nicer for the camera angle, and the timing is the most important. I agree with you.
Well, I thought Habby did a pretty good job there, because he's not a Hong Kong trained stunt guy. Apparently, when during the fight, Kenny was wearing a ring and he cut him, and Habby was like, "I'll get him in the next take."
Really?
I'm just kidding. Well, one thing about this movie, though, I was watching it again the other day in preparation for doing this. The heroes actually don't manage to save anybody except the little girl, which I always think, it's like the heroes are meant to actually save people, but by the end, pretty much everyone's wiped out, apart from you and the little kid.
Well, because, we don't want to set a really bad example out there. We do want to believe that, the kids are...
Yeah, the kid has to be saved.
Has to be saved, yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. So you were just 15 days on this movie.
I think so.
That really surprises me. How many of those were out on the open sea on the boat?
A lot. Yeah. A lot. Because I think we only have probably, oh my God, I don't remember, a couple nights in the studio.
Right.
But a lot of scenes were shot on the boat.
On the boat, right.
Especially there's a scene when Elaine got burned.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have we had that scene yet or not? It's coming up.
It's coming up.
Okay, let's talk about that when we get there. Yeah. We can relate it to it. So this is the actual boat.
It's a huge boat.
What was the boat? Is a pleasure? Normally it's a...
it's not pleasure. I think
cruiser?
It's for work. Only for workers because I didn't... Is it for pleasure? Because
when you were there, it was probably a pleasure.
Well, because the rooms were not very fancy, and
you were staying there? You actually staying on the in cabins?
No, we didn't. But I went inside and we took a look. Oh, it's got a gym here, huh?
No, this gym was in Causeway Bay.
Oh.
I'm reliably informed. So they put in some circular windows in the background to say it's on the boat. It's like
I do believe that it was not a pleasure boat because it wasn't really. See his kick.
Yeah.
See, his leg's supposed to be very fast.
Right. No, I know he's very good.
There you go.
He worked with Choi Siu-ming, who's a very good action director. Did a number of movies. Bury Me High. He had a nice acting part in that as well. I heard that when they were doing the sequence, because they're in the gym, of course, everybody's working out between takes. And, Cho Wing kind of loaded up the bench press and did his back in. Poor guy. Look at that.
See, that's why when I say flying kicks, there it is.
Woo, woo, woo.
Come fight, girl.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I could do that. I'm a Lam Kyun kind of guy. I got the southern fist happening. But you're pretty damn flexible though. You can do all the splits and stuff.
It's okay.
I remember when we were warming up for all the.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you have a movie with a lot of white guys doing martial arts, they all spend all their time showing off and doing the splits and everything. And of course we had Ron Smurenberg and everybody on Gen Y Cops. And one morning everybody was like warming up, and you just came flouncing onto the set, with no warm-up whatsoever, and said, "Oh, everybody's stretching." Boom, full splits, and it was like all the guys kind of stopped in their tracks, and they were like, "Yeah."
Well, I think because women have a better tolerance when it comes to stretching.
I think women have a better tolerance for pain. That's how they stay married. I have to ask my wife about that. But people have better tolerance for pain generally, so that's why they can. Yeah. And I think it has been said.
Yeah,
I think
that's why the woman who won the survival thing.
Yeah.
She's she was a nurse. She won the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and she can tolerate.
She tolerates
hardship.
Yes, so definitely.
Very handy in the Hong Kong film industry if you can tolerate hardship. I mean, it's like people. I mean, I think the single most important. Of course, if you have good technique, yes, take that as a given. But the important thing in Hong Kong film is stamina, to be able to perform those good techniques again and again and again in the early hours of the morning. Or whatever time of day that you are called upon to do it.
That's why it's better not to take a little nap, because once you've been holding up the whole night and you take a 5-10 minute nap and that's it.
Yeah.
The whole body just leave you and then just releases you and you go down. So you have to kind of keep it up. And the more you don't sleep, the more you get high. I mean, I try working in early years in Hong Kong. I was shooting 2 movies at the same time. I was shooting Love on the Delivery.
Love on Delivery with Stephen Chow.
And I was shooting The Bride with White Hair.
Right.
And 5 days, I haven't been sleeping at all.
Really?
5 days.
5 days back to back to back. How did you keep going?
After the first 2-3 days,
this is going to involve illicit substances.
Without.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
without. It was very, very pure. I was getting very, very high because I haven't slept for 2 days.
Yeah, I've noticed that you get that kind of buzz, don't you?
Yeah, you feel that, is it? But towards the 4th and 5th day, I was like kind of, oh my God, I was lying in the arms of the the movie The Bride with White Hair, and they were changing the lighting, and I said, hey, do you mind if I just, sleep in your arms for a minute?
Oh, wow. One of the leading guys?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you were out like a light and then back up into...
That's it. That was the early days, because at that time you're kind of young and fresh.
There was a famous story about what Benny told me on the set when we were doing Gen Y, because somebody was complaining about the hours. One time when Choi Hark was doing a film, and they were behind by 3 days, and he locked the studio doors, and he says, okay, for 3 days and 3 nights, no one shall leave. And they had to stay and just do it. The whole crew,
really?
Everybody, Because normally, sometimes they change the crew, or even they change the director, but the actor has to keep on. That's why I say stamina is the underrated attribute that you need.
Do you think Hong Kong should have their own artist guild and association?
Well, they have, but it has no power.
Huh?
I mean, it has no power.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's America. American actors are so stunned when they come over here to do films in Hong Kong, because it's like they have no recourse. In terms of, safety, our safety record's actually pretty good, but in terms of treating people on the set, there's no recourse. If you're not happy, you can't do anything apart from complain. There are people that do complain. I don't want to mention any names. But I'm just, they get reputations. But I certainly, in Hong Kong, it's like you grin and bear it, and everybody's meant to suffer because we're all making movies for very small amounts of money.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be good to have, for safety and for
for safety
professionalism.
and also for professionalism, because you do want to shoot something with quality, and if the crew and the staff hasn't slept for the past 5 days, how can you ensure that everybody is working on?
Well, that's one thing we were doing on High Binders is try to bring over, when we shift the shoot to Asia, to keep all that wonderful infrastructure in place. Because, you were only there for a few days in Ireland, but it was a real eye-opener.
It was fantastic. There's a trailer, and then there's a buffet, there's a barbecue. You take, an hour to eat?
You kept pinching yourself. What?
Oh.
Like when you're doing Red Wolf, what was it? It was like a lunchbox and...
Every my
half an hour
in Hong Kong.
You're just basically crouching down and and let me have my lunchbox.
Exactly, and I have people hurry up because the makeup artist is waiting to do some touch-ups. I'm like, I'm
down the hatch.
Yeah, but I was quite pleased with High Binders. It was like dessert with ice cream.
Yeah,
they had ice cream on the set. It was just amazing,
What do you do to stay in shape? Speaking about ice cream consumption, what's your regimen? I know you're the Marie France.
Besides
girl.
running after my daughter.
Yeah, that is good exercise, isn't it? Our kids are around about the same
running after
age.
her, I try to do some hiking. I walk. I'm not a gym person. I'd like to go, but I get so bored. I really feel like I like to do outdoors activities better. But
is it tough? Because I imagine if you go to the gym in Hong Kong, everybody's there going, "Hey, look, Christy Chung."
Yeah.
Which kind of adds another element to the experience.
It's like I'm doing my push-up and I'm benching, and people are like, "Oh, okay, you need some help?"
Yeah. They go, "She can't lift too much." No, I know it is tough, and I feel for Jackie. Jackie used to go to the gym. People go, "Hey, look, Jackie."
No, but Jackie has his own gym.
His whole thing happens. So you like hiking and
hiking, all the water sports,
right?
And all those floor exercises. Basically, to keep in shape is kind of easy. If you don't have time to exercise, then you just have to be very careful what you're eating.
Yeah.
And then when you have time, then you can eat anything you want.
It's tough with a mom like yours, who's like the assassin of cooks. If anybody could kill by cooking, your mom would be there, down with that Vietnamese cuisine.
I know, my mom is. I think I'm planning to open a Vietnamese restaurant sometime somewhere in Beijing. I think
cool.
It's going to do very well.
I do definitely, and I think there's 3 elements. If you can make the food be like your mom cooks. Secondly, it's different, hasn't been done. Thirdly, if you're attached to it, then I think it will definitely work. Hey, I'd invest. If I still have money in a year's time, when are you doing it?
I've been thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
I think hopefully within the next 2-3 years.
Okay. If I still am alive and B have money in the next couple of years, I'll come in as one of your investors.
Really?
I'll be there
because it's really gonna work.
Yeah.
Believe me, because in Beijing it's cold. People love noodles.
Right.
And it's gonna be so good. I know already. It's gonna be called pho, which is the typical Tonkin soup, Vietnamese soup.
Right.
Pho li ti, I think would be very fun.
This is such a... Oh, I can't believe it. Look, cut me. You see, now we see this noble sacrifice of your good-hearted thief character. Scar had looked like me. This is a cold scene.
I find it really hard for a little girl to to be in a movie, Hong Kong movie, because I remember that scene was very early in the morning.
Right.
And for kids, you know, I think I have to reconsider it. I think I have to think twice before letting my kids to go on a movie set, you know.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Because it's hard. It's already hard for adults, you know, for kids, and plus it's involving a lot of violence and, you know, blood.
You wonder, don't you? I mean, to what extent kids of that age can actually differentiate?
Yeah, because it's very graphic, you know. They see blood coming out, even they know it's not true, but it stays in their memory. You know?
I mean, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, there was another movie, I think I can remember the title of which is escaped me right now, Fatal something, and it was there was a scene in there where they kidnapped somebody's daughter, and she's riding along in a car, and they had this big muscular white guy holding her out the window by her hair.
Oh my God!
And she wasn't much older than the kid in this movie. And maybe it was the same girl. I'm not sure. But she was like, this poor kid is the daughter. Who was she? Who was the girl? Who was the little girl? Anyway, maybe she's the daughter of some stunt guy. So she was this poor kid, you know.
Oh no! Actually, she's a niece of somebody in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she got in for this. Another cold-blooded scene. But Elaine has great relish when she's doing it. It was actually a pretty good casting of you guys because she can totally sell that evilness, and you totally sell the innocence, kindness and the innocence of the character.
The yin and yang.
Yin and yang.
Exactly.
You know, it just shows how the camera lies.
The Beauty and the Beast. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Elaine's a real character on and off screen, but she really seemed to be.
She's a sweet girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nicely lit. That shot there. The two of you guys hunkered down. So this is actually a taste of things to come. Christy as mummy with the little girl. I bet the little girl loved you. Was she like, you know? Did she like you, the little girl, when she was working with you on the movie? No, she's not honest. No, or what? She was like nervous.
The little girl?
The little girl when you worked with her.
She was very quiet. She wasn't, you know, speaking much, talking much.
Because we had two kids on Highbinders, and one of them was Alex, who plays like the
talk
Chinese
a lot,
kid.
But that's because, you know, the other one might.
One of the kids is like he's good, right? But he's like so experienced. He's done he's like 8, going on like 18 or 28, and he's like talking about points of the gross and where's his trailer and everything, and precocious and trying to rewrite his dialogue and whatever. And we're like, can I see your birth certificate, please?
Well, I think the kids who are raised outside, they have more chances to meet a lot of people, so they kind of more outgoing.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong people, I find still, it's very hard for us to find new faces locally because people, are a bit shy and conservative and they don't have confidence. Choi Hark always said to me he liked to work with singers because singers are used to emoting. Hong Kong people keep all the emotion back. And they don't want to emote. They don't want to.
So singers are, where's my water? Where's my this and that? So they will tell you what they want.
Yeah.
No, I feel that nowadays people in Hong Kong use singers because of their fans. So the box office would be bigger.
There is that. I mean, he was like, there's a downside to it in that they can be prima donnas as well. But he was saying that, when you work with people like Leslie Cheung or Anita Mui, that they were they could register almost like chords, the emotional response because of being on stage. Whereas with, with local people, he would say, okay, pretend you're talking to your father. And it's just like...
Oh, but that's so sad because that's why when it comes to me telling people that each actor should really take time off.
Yeah.
I took time off when I gave birth to my daughter. I came back and I have all those emotions. It's amazing. Yeah. I feel it's much more natural for me to act now because you stop and smell the flowers.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
So
or the nappies. Now, Bobby here was really a little bummed. I know he really thought he was going to get like a proper fight, like Happy did, and instead it's this kind of tricky little thing. But
I think he died really poorly.
I know. The other thing was he's terrified of water.
Bobby? Really?
This is what I'm told. I mean, he's going to be doing an interview for us in the States, and he's tied up for another project at the moment.
Really?
But this is typical of the kind of tricky... I like this little tricky stuff here. This is really smart, like Yuen Woo Ping. Just putting him down there, and then he's got those rubber things.
Oh my God, that's
now,
funny.
you know what? You could watch like a bunch of American movies. You're never going to see anything as much fun as that.
Yeah.
But they really work, the suction things. So Kenny was like kind of, hey, that's no problem. He can wail on Bobby. And poor Bobby actually was slipping and sliding. It's a pretty small place to be, you know, to be fighting it in. So he was bashing himself, and he's like, damn it, I'm suffering so much, and never really getting to do what he wanted to do, which is more action. And here, boom, he goes.
So he got into the water, and
he so didn't enjoy that. And he was like, it was like, if all the ways for me to die, please, not in the hot tub. I mean, I don't know, maybe if Elaine was in the hot tub, but, you know, not for this.
Do you really think that all the G7 really talk to the directors and say, I don't want to do this, or they just do it?
You pretty much, they just do it.
Yeah.
But I think that they were hoping that they could be more involved in the process. Now, that really looks like the ceiling of the studio.
It is. It is. No, seriously.
It's actually on the boat, but it's meant to be on the boat, but actually that looks just like the
ceiling of the studio,
where
and
they put all the lighting.
Pretty high.
Yeah,
it's very high.
Yeah. And
I'm just so lucky that I'm not scared of high.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene of when I'm up there, and you'll see much later. And
right.
And I liked it.
You're so gung ho with stuff though. Is there anything you have been scared of that you had to do in a movie?
I think there was one time. I think it was Yu Ping who asked me. I think it was in this movie. He asked me, "Would you mind if there's any like a scorpion or some kind of a little lizard coming in your?"
Right.
In your sleeves.
I don't think it's this movie, but it sounded like a fun scene. What happened?
That I'd be scared. I don't quite.
Did he ask you to do it and it didn't happen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't quite like bugs and anything that crawls with, you know, four.
You steer clear of Hong Kong producers then.
Yeah, but it's like Indiana Jones, you know, the scenes where they didn't tell her, Kathleen Turner didn't tell her she's going to be going inside. It's going to be a lot of
snakes.
Bugs and snugs and snugs and snakes and bugs.
All the snugs and bugs. Snug as a bug in a rug.
Well, they got the real reaction, huh?
There was a famous story about talking about westerns in Hong Kong films. There was a guy, again, maybe I shouldn't say his name, but he was doing another movie with a guy called Frankie Chan. Do you know Frankie? Chan Frankie? And he was doing the film, and the scene in the film was he was being disarmed by the hero. And the way he'd be disarmed is there was all these crates in the ceiling full of chickens, live chickens.
Oh.
And they were going to pull the cord, and the chickens are meant to come down. He's meant to do the reaction shot, like there's no real chickens falling, but he's going, and he apparently wasn't good enough. So on like take 8 or 9, the guy just pulled the cord and dumped 80 pounds of live poultry on him. And he was like, and they went flying. All these chickens are bombing him from all directions. And of course the reaction on his face when he looked up was like, here come the chickens. And then he's like, he said, Frankie Chan, why'd you do that? Frankie Chan says, I do it because your acting good enough is not. Which should be on my gravestone. His acting good enough is not. And
in that scene you kind of feel that mutterness into it, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So your maternal instinct coming to the fore. But I've always found this inverse ratio between how sweet somebody is off screen and how evil they are on screen. Like, Roy Chung, he's always working in movies as like a really evil, mean guy. Billy Chow. Billy's the nicest man on the planet. He's so gentle and so sweet.
Yeah.
And then you meet these people who their screen persona is really, so
it's like
nice.
Mike Tyson. He's the toughest man in the world, but he speaks like this.
I know, he's very gentleman. He was in did you see what's the documentary Black and White that he was in, where he played himself, and they set him up and they all this thing where the guy pretends to be gay and like he's gonna hit him. You never saw that one with Naomi Campbell? You gotta check it out. It's fun. Brett Ratner was involved. I think his friend did it. Oh, double. I can't believe you went off there. Painful. But then in Aces Go Places, you did that stuff yourself.
Yes,
I was going to say you did that shit yourself, but we can't. This is a PG. And then boom. And how much rehearsal or training did you do to for this?
Not a lot, because I know. Oh my God! Here, this is a wannabe butterfly.
I love it. Float like a butterfly. Sting like a queen bee.
Look at her with one hit. She's just like
a riot. Christy Chung, the video game.
God!
Oh, poor Christy. Good shot.
But that was funny.
It is
funny.
But what I'm saying is, you get these scenes to do. If you play them less than full bore, they wouldn't work. But you're giving it 100%. So there's the famous paint sequence coming up. Boom.
They wanted me to do this because at that time it was the World Cup.
Yeah. You still do that, though.
The World Cup.
You did that at the Easter egg hunt last Easter. So there's nothing. That's just vintage Christy. poor Elaine. This is Elaine gets to do all the slam and bang, and you really on the receiving end for this. Did you get some training with the stunt guys on the set before doing the scene? Really, just basically stand there, do this.
Yeah.
Sounds
because
about right.
I'm not supposed to know kung fu anyway,
right.
so I'm just kind of like hit like as if I'm trying to defend myself, and that's why I was doing this silly boxing thing.
Yeah. I was just thinking more for the reactions because they can actually be dangerous too. Because even if you're the one getting hit, you have to kind of move away. Did you get hurt at all during this film? No.
I don't
Not
remember.
seriously anyway, which is good.
I don't think so. Yeah. But I have a very, very high tolerance of pain.
Right. Yeah. Which is helpful doing a DVD commentary. Down with me.
It's not too bad.
It's nice. Okay.
It's not too bad because actually, I haven't seen. Oh, this is the highlight of the movie. I always wanted to use a gun.
Okay.
I love using gun, right? Yeah. And in this one, I get to shoot a fire gun. It was really loud and it was very happy. Look at Elaine.
Oh. How much? So, did Elaine actually get burnt doing some of this? Obviously, they have a stunt double as well.
Yeah, this one is a stunt. Well, hopefully for her, but for the ending part, when they put a lot of makeup, special effect thing, was pretty good.
Right.
It looked really 好慘啊,
Did she actually get burnt during the filming?
No.
Of this? Oh, okay, that's good. Because there was another girl, Jay Leung was doing a movie in China. And she still has scarring on her hands to this day from doing a stunt that went wrong. So it can be a dangerous game. But I would say actually that people always talk about dangerous Hong Kong movies. I think
it is dangerous. So many people died
in Hong Kong movies.
Yeah, remember that explosion somewhere in Kowloon?
Yeah, we were doing Downtown Torpedoes. Yeah, somebody died. But you know what the thing is? We know all the cases because it happens quite rarely. I think actually the American track record of people hurt and killed in American movies is much higher. I mean, they make more films anyway, but the two actually compare favorably. Hong Kong films are actually quite safe because there are instances when it happens, but when I look at some of the stunts and stuff that's happened, when I've been on the set, well, of course on Gen Y we had that awful thing where that poor girl got hit in the head when we were doing the robot testing, and it was like, there, but
the robot suddenly came alive.
Well, Paul Rudd, our American actor on Gen Y, he was so great with everything. He would dive in the harbour. He didn't mind us blowing up the car. He didn't mind doing kung fu. Then we were going to hang him off the edge, very slowly, off the edge of this containers. These 7 containers up, like 2 stories high. He's going to be hung off the edge of like a building. And poor guy. I mean, heights is his thing. Like Bugs for You. Or
no.
Yeah, he was just no, I ain't going there. And for me, it would be tight places, But he was like kind of.
I have that too.
Oh, claustrophobia. Yeah. Oh, potholing. When the guys go underground. Yeah. Are they insane? No way. But I mean, the weird thing is though, if it was Ryan at the other end of the pothole,
you would go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Yasmin, then you would go. It's a weird thing. Yeah. You just realize after you have kids how selfish you were before. Like, I will never do this.
Yeah.
And then you think,
and now you become a superhero.
It's true. Which is this character. Now you look at the character in the movie. I mean, I don't know. When I look back on movies like Ransom, I saw Ransom before I had Ryan. The movie with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And I reacted to it as a thriller. Like, yeah, it's good. It's great that he did what he did, in the movie. And then later, when I saw it again, having become a father, I was like, wow, a whole different emotional resonance, because you think, my kid, he's going to come out and say, kill my kid. And
talking about kids, you have 2 to come now.
2 in a week's time.
In a week's time. Gee, congratulations.
Dragon and Tiger twins.
Where's the cigar? Oh, wow.
Well, it's going to be a big party. It's at your place, so batten the hatches and get your mom over with that Vietnamese cookout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well,
I love to Bonnie.
They'll probably have Vietnamese accents, given the amount of your mom's cooking that Bonnie ingested that time.
Oh, no.
She was like...
You wouldn't like that if they come out and look like Vietnamese.
Your mom's told me that, when you were little, that you accidentally ingested all these, giving away the family secrets there, you ingested these pills.
I had an overdose when I was 5 years old.
Like touching... Oh, thankfully, you survived, and this is the scene you're talking about, sorry, Ho Cham.
Yeah, Ho Cham. You can see the makeup was
very
but
it really
well
looks... And this is another really cold scene, because, they're obviously established that they're lovers, and she's been badly burnt, and he's just like, hey... Adios. You shoot, I shoot. Oh God, look at that. No.
Oh.
But anyway, meanwhile, back in your good spent youth, you ingested these pills and had to go to hospital or whatever.
Yes, I'm just being a naughty kid. Just want to look for candies all the time. So I went into. At that time, my uncle was staying with us.
Right.
So I took the whole antibiotics pills, and I just down it from my in my throat, and I just totally overdosed.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but you went to hospital, you recovered, and your mom accounts for these chemicals as being the reason that you look like
yeah, my uncle.
Look like you do, because no one else in your family. This is your mom saying this, not me. So don't get mad, relatives of Christy. But her mom says none of the other people in the family look a bit like you. And it must be whatever was in that. We should find out what it is. We can market it. You know.
I know. I just saw my uncle when I just came back from Canada, and he was like,
"Get to carve that out."
You should thank me.
Yes, thank you, Uncle. You know. He should be getting a percentage. You know.
Having me overdose when I was 5.
What was in the pills? Do we know?
I don't know.
Why was he taking them?
Antibiotics. And it was funny because at that time I don't like to drink milk, but funnily, you know, that day I asked my mom a glass of milk, and milk usually kind of delay the process of the pills.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Yeah. But now your mum's a trip, you know, telling us these tales of Christy. This is mean. You know, I always the casual acts of shooting people like this is just, you know, yeah. And he hits him. Why? He needs to hit him with the broomstick. Oh, to check he's dead. Right. Okay. Good. This whole thing of like, you know, bad guy and the good guy communicating by walkie-talkie is like, it's become like the key scene in all of these. Because, you know, Die Hard was the first one. Have you seen it recently, Die Hard? It still kicks ass. You know, they got the DVD out.
I don't think that people really want to watch because of what happened from, you know, the 911.
Yeah, it's true.
And,
I mean, it's changed.
you know, in Hollywood, they've been pulling out a lot of movies, like Schwarzenegger just finished a movie. It's totally been like canceled, pulled out because it was involving some kind of a
it's similar as a fireman, and there's terrorism, and
smug on a plane, and even Spider-Man. I'm so looking forward to watch Spider-Man.
You a big Spider-Man fan?
Oh yeah, it was my favorite.
Yeah.
He was my favorite, more than Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
And apparently they have to reshoot the scenes because they have the Twins Tower there.
I have mixed feelings about that. I almost think that it's a testament of like, you know, of the indomitable spirit of New York, that you leave them in the film. This is my feeling, anyway, because we had a movie at EMG, Funeral March with Eason, where we cut out some shots because it was in the background, and I was like, that's kind of.
Because we don't want people to remind of that day, and we don't want, you know, every time people watch this movie, it's going to be very sad.
It's really interesting you raise that, because, I mean, you know, you're obviously an actress who works in many, many different films, but, you know, including action movies, including the big one that we're doing now. And I, as a writer and producer, I mean, you know, interested in you know, those movies and the effect they have, and, you know, the responsibility we must have towards educating a generation. Because it's kind of depressing when you look at this new century and we're at war already in 2001. And, you know, we need to teach our children better. And I think film is a very powerful medium. But having said that, you know, I do think that that all kind of genres of films need to be made, and that action films can be a very good way to communicate values to people. And Die Hard works. I mean, you know, now is not maybe the time, but I was just saying, I watched Die Hard and thinking how well constructed it was. When you watch it today,
which one did you like? The first one?
I think the first one's still the best.
Yeah, the first one is always the best one.
And they really, it's been copied, and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it has not. But I remember when City Hunter came out, I said that City Hunter was what would happen if you dropped acid when you're watching Under Siege. Because Under Siege was the one with Steven Seagal. Yeah. And City Hunter was one with Jackie Chan when he's on the boat. And everything's like day glow, and there's like, you know, help and all this stuff coming out. I don't know how I define Red Wolf. Red Wolf is like, I don't know if you...
The Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
The Love Boat with guns or something.
On the Love Boat. You know, boom. Kenny really, I mean, the thing I think that differentiates choreography, and you know, even I felt, you know, even you felt that, right? I definitely did. Ooh. Yeah. But the differentiates Hong Kong cinema, that the fight choreography different to what's in the West, is the fact that kicking and punching, kick is a kick, is a punch is a punch. But Yuen Woo-ping, he knows exactly the camera angle and when to use slow motion, when to use
it more
intense, kicks, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see, I mean, we're going to see it. We're doing it with high binders. You, Christy, kicking butt and taking names in a real no-holds-barred scene like this.
I can't wait because Sammo will be responsible for my kicks and punches.
Right. Listen, Mike Miller is a really good kicker. This guy. Yeah. Terrific martial artist.
Maybe because he's not too tall.
That was partly was the issue. He's made up for it with his hair in that shot, because he's actually taller than you by his hair. Nice fella. But he didn't get to fight at all. And I mean, again, he was another G7, one of the G7's guys. And it's kind of a shame because, I mean, if you just done a little bit of action. But like you say, I mean, the problem is, I think, if you haven't got that big build, the Chinese audience maybe will not be as impressed. But if someone like Kenny or yourself comes up against some big meat monster, you know, some bodybuilder kind of guy, it's like, yes.
Well, one of Jackie's new protege, one of Jackie's new, you know, stunt guy. I think he's from
not
Australia.
A stunt. Brad Allen.
Is it Brad?
Yeah, who was in
pretty tiny.
Bolejun. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And he's not big at all, but he's well built and solid. And part of his appeal is that he's kind of small, but he can really flip, flop, and fly, and he looks the part. So he got a great part there. So maybe it is changing. I hope it is. But there was for a long time, from the Hong Kong side of it, a perception that if you have a guy Western in a Hong Kong movie, they're either playing the policeman, or a stupid tourist, or they're playing a kung fu guy. I played all three in my time.
Yeah, what about you? Tell me your experience experiences with Hong Kong movies.
Well, my most memorable experience is when a movie I did called It's a Mad, 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 Mad Kung Fu World. And we were filming in a warehouse not too far from where I think you shot this. And there was a sequence where they wanted to have Godzilla destroy a TV set. And of course, they couldn't afford a real Godzilla.
So what did they do?
Huge green papier-mâché Godzilla foot.
No way.
And I'm sitting on a desk like the one we're at today, and it was like 3, 2, 1, and they shot it. The first take, I was like 4 feet away, rolling away. Second one, they wanted me to stand right next to the desk and then run away. The last shot, I was sitting directly under Godzilla's foot. And I realized why. It's for coverage. That if I get hit by the foot, I mean, the papier-mâché won't hurt me, but the wooden board, if they hit me on the head, lights out, baby. So they waited till the dangerous one till last. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I hope I get out of the way in time. Because it wasn't so much, of course, dying is a big issue in any circumstances, but it's like, you want to go out heroically. You don't want people to say he was crushed to death by a giant Godzilla foot. No one would take it seriously.
Yeah.
I'd be in like Guinness Book of Records as the funniest death in
the movie.
And the next day I was due to give a lecture on Bruce Lee to 200 Japanese tourists. And I was just imagining, you know, like maybe if I didn't make it, if I got crushed, and then maybe you would have to go in the next day and say, I'm very sorry, Mr. Takahashi, an honoured guest from Kinki Nippon, but Mr. Logan-san cannot be here today. He was crushed last night.
By Godzilla.
But, you know, and nobody would believe it. So that was my most memorable experience.
When was that? What year was
that was in 1990, what year did we do Jackie Chan, my stunts? 97 or 98, I think it was. So I was there under the... But you know, like, I'm a devotee of martial arts. I love martial arts. But I'm the prime example of somebody in real life, you know, I still practice. But that quick timing I find really hard. So I just sit there and write all these complicated scenes and then sit back laughing and watching brave people like you get out there. Like in Highbinders, I mean, you know, it's quite a complicated action scene. But the thing is, I know you can do it and I know Samo can do it. But I myself... You know, I can conceive it, but I'm just, you know, in execution.
and I can't wait to see those scenes because Anthony Wong is quite tall.
Anthony?
Yeah.
I'm surprised about Anthony. He's really good at Kung Fu.
Yeah?
People don't realize
because
that.
he's the one who I'll be fighting with.
Yeah.
And he's a snakehead.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's Snakehead's right-hand man. Yeah, he's the right-hand man of Snakehead in the movie. He's the right-hand man of the villain.
Really?
And so he's going to be slamming and banging. Yeah, Snakehead's... I kind of know who it is. Maybe I shouldn't say yet because if it isn't him, it's meant to be Julian Sands. So if this DVD comes out and it's on the next DVD commentary, I'll correct this. But at the moment, we're just closing a deal with Julian Sands, who's a wonderful British actor, who's been in many fantastic films, and it's great that he's going to be.
So you don't think I'll be fighting with Anthony?
I think you'll be fighting with Anthony because Anthony's the right hand guy, so he's going to lead the attack on the house.
You know, I'm so surprised because Anthony last time when we had this little press con with Samo, he was so interested in flamenco dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He went to Camden in London. He was living in Camden learning flamenco. He has a really... You know, he's another example. In the film, he always plays somebody who's, like, eating people or, you know, like this.
But he's such a wonderful actor.
Oh.
He's really, really
We were
good.
talking, you know, Gordon Chan and I were doing the commentary the other day for Beast Cops, which is his film he won all the awards for. And we're just saying, this guy's like the Michael Caine of Hong Kong. Because Michael Caine is in all kind of crap. And then he'll pull one off, and then he'll be winning Best Acting Oscars, you know, quite rightly, because he's one of the best screen actors. I mean, I always say to people, if you want to learn screen acting in Hong Kong, don't go to school. Follow Anthony Wong, follow Simon Yam, follow Chen Yu. All three of whom have done some junk, but all three of whom, on their day, are as good as screen actors as anybody on the planet, you know. And so I always say, just follow them, and you can learn everything. Like John Carradine said about acting, you know, nothing can be taught, everything can be learned. And in film, I think it's true. You know, you can learn. It's like a film set's like a film school.
Like you're saying that you're learning acting from somebody else?
From watching what they do.
Really?
Well, this is my feeling anyway. And I mean, my own acting skills are relatively limited. But I mean, my feeling is that if I say to you, Christy, I'm going to teach you. It's like the Bruce Lee thing. You know, I cannot teach you, but I can help you to explore yourself. You know, I can't say this is how you act.
I still think is you really have to stop and smell the flowers and really, really enjoy life. Because if you're acting like Woody Allen, then you will act, you know, and speak like Woody Allen. You won't be acting like yourself. You know,
I'm talking more about technique than impersonation, because I think that particularly for film acting, there is a certain amount of technique involved, and you need the technique in order to get the talent across. And these guys have an incredible technique now from the years of doing film. And this is really cool. But we should go back. Let's get back into the action of this fight for a minute here. You're on the set there as these dudes slugging it out.
Yeah,
how many takes do they have to do per technique for this kind of stuff?
How many takes? I think not more than 5, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not more than 5 because it's got fire involved, so we want everything to be done at once. And that really hurt.
Yes.
That really hurt.
I can tell.
I remember, you know...
Colin really can
Colin
fly.
is really good. He's quite tall, so he's very
Go get him, Christy, get him! Yeah! Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
Boom!
Oh,
there
boom!
Oh,
that really hurt too.
I
was out of breath when
you were like one
that.
of the. You were like
whoa,
normally they have
whoa.
like you were like a human tatami for the finale. Because normally they have like a nice mattress to land in when you do a flying kick, but in this film it's you. I hope Colin is getting a nice part in Matrix because he really deserves it.
Yeah, actually, I heard a lot from. I heard some rumors that he was supposed to be in Lethal Weapon. Yeah,
I was just going to say.
too?
Well, he was cast, and then I don't know. You know what it is in the industry in Hollywood.
I know.
You know, I always joke about it. You know, in Hong Kong, when all's said and done, more is done than said. In Hollywood, all said and done, more said than done. It's so true. You know, you go to Hollywood, it's like everybody says, "Oh, we're going to make you a big star, baby," and then it's like, "Yeah, right," or you'll be a big script writer or whatever. And
But that's why I told Colin never to give up.
Yes.
If he's got disappointed once, but that's why whenever you want to do something, don't ever give up your dreams.
Well, I mean, this is one thing. I mean, I don't want to. I know you don't like to talk about them, but I mean, there's films I know you've been up for in the States where and the press here gets hold of it, and Christy's doing such and such, and it's just talking. It's just it's all talk, and it must be disappointing. But as you say, you can't give up, and
No.
To me, being that close is like more inspiration that you have to keep on.
Yes.
Rather than say, I didn't make it, I'll spend the rest of my time being drunk and bitter.
Exactly.
You gotta press on.
Exactly. Maybe because the time wasn't right.
Yeah.
But if you really want it, I mean, just visualize it and just go for it.
Right.
And also, I believe it's also luck, or maybe do not take it too seriously as well, and just go with the flow, because if I must have a Hollywood movie, I must have, then it's gonna be just focus on something else, and when it's time to come, it'll come.
Yeah, well, I totally think that is Louis Pasteur said a great phrase, which is chance favors the prepared mind. Meaning that luck basically does occur, but if you're not ready for luck, you can't exploit it. And I mean, I had that when we left Gen Y. I mean, it was leaving MA was kind of a mixed bag, and I joined EMG just in time to take on Highbinders, and it was like, but I was ready from the Gen Y experience to say, yes, okay, I'll come in and do this movie. Whereas if I'd just been sitting around complaining and not practicing the craft, I mean, the thing about you're always working, so you're practicing the craft, you're keeping the weapon sharp, just like this monster here,
Keep the
blade sharp.
Thing humming.
So you were not at all worried up there at the in the walkway.
Yeah, but I liked it. The more it's dangerous, the more I get a high out of it. I don't know why.
God.
I think I can. Maybe I'm kind of a masochist or something. Is it?
We could explore that. But the other thing, what I found different in my own case is that when before that's great. Look at that.
I know.
It's
great
amazing stuff, isn't it? You can see why Hong Kong movies have got.
That's why I have
following.
A lot of respect for Kenny as well. He was really working hard for that.
Yeah.
I never thought he knew how to fight. I thought he would just learn on the set like that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that he's necessarily learned classically martial art, but he just was brave.
Yes.
And anything on the set, he can do it.
Yes.
Because I mean, Judge Judge Power, he did like a bit of sword play and stuff. But you can get it, you know, with the sword play, you can kind of get away with a bit more.
The sword, really?
When you're doing
because
kung
you
fu
need a lot
stuff.
of coordination for that.
Well, on the TV shows, a lot of what they do is like, guy holds the sword, double, 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 flying. Guy holds the sword, double, double, double. This stuff, where they're shooting it, you see him. It has to be him doing a flying kick and whatever. So, you know, that's when I think somebody really pulls it off. But you're absolutely right. If you have somebody doing real classical kung fu, but, you know, like Dragon Gate Inn, you know, they got every, like, Bridget Lin and Maggie Cheung, and these people can't do kung fu, so they just get a nice, beautiful close-up of them with a sword, and then a double to do all the spinning. And if you get Michelle, of course, it's a different kettle of fish. Nice close-ups there. Bang. Ouch. I think what's different about Hong Kong action choreography is when you watch a Hollywood movie, you're watching a fight. And sometimes when you watch a Hong Kong film, you almost feel like you're there. You know, you feel the impact.
You feel that.
Right, on the behalf of the person.
No, I feel that. I don't want to say it. Can I say it?
Yes.
But anyway, I'm going to say it anyway.
Speak.
In Hollywood movies, I notice everything is so choreographed. You know, it's like, okay, doom, wait, and then doom. Okay, I'm going to receive it. And you can see it in their face, and they're waiting to receive a punch.
Yes.
But here it's like boom, 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 and also maybe because they speed up some of the fighting scenes.
And the cranking
so
to make it work.
Real.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie always talks about the rhythm. It's like the audience, they don't sit there going, hey, it's got rhythm, it hasn't. If the rhythm's not there, they notice. And I think when Hong Kong style came into Hollywood, people were like, geez, there's something different here. And they kind of knew that it had a whole... I mean, everything's together, the cinematography, the choreography,
yeah, and
sound.
nobody does it better than Hong Kong with wires. Wires were just so professional. Hong Kong...
You did a lot of wires.
I love wires.
Yeah.
I love flying.
You look great. At Aces Go Places, is your big... The opening scene, of course, is you in action. Was your big action debut.
Yeah, with the parachute.
Yeah, that was neat.
But I really love wires. It's quite...
It's a different use of a buffet.
Difficult, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I find what it is with the wires is that they counteract the body's natural instincts in terms of gravity and in terms of how you balance yourself. And you have to... Once you... have faith in the wire pulling.
Exactly.
Jackie says he has to see his boys pulling the wires, or he can't do it. Because he's just worried, shit, they're going to pull the wire the wrong way, and he's going to do it. But when you recognize and trust the wire users, the wire pullers, then you know you can go with the flow. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're having a good mix with Highbinders. We're going to have wires and real stuff, and I mean that's one thing I love about Samo. No one's ever going to look as good as they do when Samo directs them. Jackie never looks as good as he does when Samo directs him, in my humble opinion, because, you know, Samo's not just concerned about his own performance when he's starring in films, he's not starring in
But he's very concerned, especially if it's a female.
Yes.
Very, very concerned for the protection.
Yeah.
And I already, you know, have a little talk with Samo and say, Samo, okay, please, do not feel embarrassed and do not feel guilty if I'm a girl. I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do because I want to look good.
Was that the time I saw you? I think you had him pinned up against the wall. You were holding him up off the ground with one hand. Man, we were like, boy, you can confront Sandra. Just kidding, just kidding. She was having a quiet chat, but he's like a big teddy bear.
Yeah,
everybody
and he's
loves him.
Fantastic cook.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, he cooks the best.
You better
actually, you know
back to marry France when he came back from
I
Vietnam.
noticed a lot of martial artists are very good cook. I think they use some kind of a chi inside their bodies when they cook their food. You never heard that?
No, but that's a wonderful theory. Is Yun Wo Ping a good cook?
A lot. I never had...
John Woo, I know, can cook a storm.
But a lot of martial artists that I've met, that I talked to, and apparently their cooking is fantastic.
Wow.
You know, it's because you have a lot of chi, and it's like you're putting a lot of love in the food.
Oh.
But,
that's a fascinating thing. Now I'm thinking maybe we should think about doing another project to follow up from your book. We should do like the Kung Fu cookbook with all these guys.
Yes.
You know, like
I believe that if you have several, you know, very famous martial artists in Asia, and you have a cooking competition,
that's a great
if you
idea.
try that, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very good.
Maybe kind of Yan Can Cook is like
the God of
big
Cookery,
finale.
Kung Fu style.
Yeah, this is one of the films that just stops, so we've got to watch for when it just stops because it's just a freeze, one of those freeze frame
See the little
numbers.
girl, yay!
Was this actually, did you actually do the last scene of the movie like this? That this was the last scene in the film.
Yeah,
So they were shooting in pretty much in sequence.
Yes.
So that was it, and it was like, thank you and goodbye. Wow, this has been a blast. That was
that was pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, we talked about the film for about 20% of the time. But thanks very much for coming in on it, because you did your book signing and whatever. So thank you to all of you DVD fans out there for watching Red Wolf with Christy Chung.
Thank you very much for watching and listening to us, and hopefully you'll enjoy the movie.
Yes, yes indeed. And look out for Highbinders coming to a theatre near you.
Cheers,
by
mate.
Me. Cheers and goodbye. Joy Gien. How do you say
Gien.
goodbye in Vietnamese?
Chào anh.
Chào anh.
Chào, you just say chào.
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 It's like ciao.
Chào.
Chào.
Chào. Bye.
Adios.
Amigos.
We can keep the languages coming.
Oh god. Hey, that's cool, man.
Yeah, you got to cut about half an hour ago.